Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video I will talk about throw keyword in exception, right? So why we have this throw keyword and what is the use of throw keyword? So before this we have seen that what is exception, what are the types of exceptions, how those exceptions comes on the runtime as well as at the compile time, how to handle the exceptions, how we can use try catch, what is the role of finally block, and how we can use nested try block, nested how we can use multiple catch blocks. So we have seen that everything, right? Now we have very good knowledge of how to handle the exceptions in the program. Now let's say whatever we have seen till now, so whenever there is exception in the project you can handle it, but sometimes you have a requirement where you need to throw some exception, right, based on certain conditions. So even for that we do have a way through which we can achieve this. So let's say if you look at the throw exceptions in Java, so basically if you look at the definitions which I have given here, we can define our own set of conditions, okay, our rules, and throw an exception explicitly using throw keyword. So when you use throw keyword, you can based on certain conditions you can throw the exceptions, right? It's up to you. How do you write the condition? It's completely up to you. It's completely based on your project requirement, right? For example, we can throw arithmetic exceptions when we divide a number by 5 or any other, right? So let's say I have a requirement where in general what happens when you divide any number by 0, you will get arithmetic exceptions, right? So when you divide 9 by 0, what you will get? You will get arithmetic exceptions. Now I have a requirement where if I divide by number by 5, I should throw arithmetic exceptions. Then how do you do that, right? There should be some way that can be achieved by throw keyword, right? We can see that in example. So this is straightforward. If you look at the example number 18, we have a class and then we have one method called check eligibility process. Okay, I will not go here for what is static, what is void, because for everything I have covered in my previous video. I'll go to the point what I have to talk here, right? So let's say you have a method called check eligibility process which takes two arguments, age and weight. You are saying that boss, when your age is less than 10 and weight is less than 30, okay, a student is not eligible for registration. You are throwing the exceptions. So how you can throw the exceptions? For that you need to make the object of any runtime class, or you need to make the object of any checked exceptions or unchecked exceptions, right? We have seen that what is checked exceptions. That checked exceptions is the one which compiler will force you to handle that, whereas the unchecked exceptions is the one where you will get at the runtime. There are difference, right? There are difference which we have seen that. So if you look at here, the focus here, you're always, if you want to throw any exceptions, you're always, the first key should be throw, then new operator, and then arithmetic exceptions, right? This is the object of the class. See, throw is the keyword, of course, new and arithmetic exceptions. That's how we create object in the Java, right? So when you have a class A, how do you create the object? A obj is equal to new of A, right? So when you have only default constructor, that's how you create the object. But when you have parameterized constructor, yes, you can supply argument to the object. So here in arithmetic exceptions we have multiple constructor which we have seen that. So I am creating the object of the constructor which will take a string as an argument, and I am saying that a student is not eligible for registration, else a student is eligible. So that's how I can throw the exceptions based on my requirement. Why this is required? See, let's say you are working on applications, let's say voting applications. you got a requirement, you have to write the code for that. If person age is less than 18, he is not eligible for voting. So you need to throw the exceptions. Why you need to throw the exceptions? Whoever is the caller for your method, whoever is the client for your project, he should get notified, he should get informed like why it is failing. So let's say if you will not throw exceptions here, what, let's say you will just write if this, do not do anything else, do that. If you will not throw the exceptions, will caller will ever come to know what is happening? No, he will never come to know that what is happening behind the scene, right? So in that case you should throw the exceptions, right? We will see that, we will see that. Now look at here, in the main method I'm just calling this to a method, check eligibility 1039 and then check eligibility 925. So in this guy will go to the else block, sorry, this guy will go to the if block, and this guy less than 10 and less than 39. So this guy also will go to the else block, whereas this guy 9 less than 10 less than 30, this guy will go to the if block, right? We will see that in the Eclipse so that we will understand very well. This is the one. If I run this, see here, exceptions is the thread main, welcome to the admission process, right? From where this line is coming, sorry, this is the execution line. Then a student is eligible for registration, then have a good day, then you have exceptions here, arithmetic exceptions. A student is not eligible for registration. Now this guy is called from the main method, from main method calling the method check eligibility process, line number 7, click on that. See, it is throwing exceptions here. When exceptions is coming here, when you are calling this method. Now let's put a breakpoint here, right click, toggle breakpoint. Okay, now right click, debug as Java applications. So when you press F6, so the first call, when this call went, right, 1039, it did not go to this if conditions, it will go to the else conditions, because 10 is not less than 10 and 39 is not less than 30, so it will never go. Now press F6. Now have a good day will get printed, then second method will get called, it will come here and then it will go inside. When it will go inside, you are throwing the exceptions, right? You can see that in the console here, everything is getting printed, no problem at all. Now press F6. See here, exceptions came, right? You can see that exceptions came here. A student is not eligible and arithmetic exceptions. Now do one thing, make here 9, make here 25, make here 10 and make here 39. Now run the program. Look at here, your second method did not get called at all. What it is getting printed? Welcome to admission process. From where this line is coming? So before, in the main method, the first line is welcome to admissions process, and you know that in Java your execution will start from the main method, and what you have, welcome to admission process. Then this method get called. When this method get called, it went here and there was exceptions. So you know that whenever there is exceptions in the program, your program will terminate then and there when you don't have proper exceptions handling. Okay, it will terminate then and there. So the program got terminated here itself. These two lines did not get executed. That's what I wanted to show you, right? When you call this method first, there will not be any exceptions. This method, second method will get executed and then exceptions will come here. But when you reverse it, when you will get exceptions here, your these two line will never get executed. Let me show you in the debug run. debug as Java applications. Look at here, press F6, see, first itself it went to throw. You can see that welcome to admissions process. Here you have, press F6, it will throw the exceptions, right? This line will never get executed. Then why we should write throw? We will see that. We will see that why we should write. Okay. Yeah. Example 19 here. Look at this example what we have. So as I said, this is the different example. You got a requirement where you need to write a project for the voting application. So you are saying that if age is less than 18, throw saying that boss, you are not eligible for voting, else eligible for voting. Simple. It's a very simple program. Now when you look at here, this method is a static method. So when the method is a static, do I need to create object for that? No, because even though if I'll create object for this class, this static member will not belong to that object, right? Because static is a class member. Static is not a member of object. So I'm calling directly by the class reference. Actually here I don't need to use class reference because I am calling in the same class. Yes, when I have to call from the different class, then I need to use the class reference. But I am just calling that. What will happen when you call that with 20, it will tell you eligible for voting, right? Go here. When you call with 20, there will not be any exceptions. Run as Java applications, right? Eligible for voting. But let's say if I'll do here 15, I will get exceptions. Okay. See here, not eligible for voting. You can see that, not eligible for voting. Now, whatever you are seeing that till now, in all the method whatever I have shown you, I am trying to throw runtime exceptions. Arithmetic exceptions is the runtime exceptions, right? Array index out of bound exceptions is the runtime exceptions. Null pointer is the runtime exceptions, right? These are all runtime exceptions, right? Now let's say, let me see that in my notes first. Okay, I'll cover here. So let's say I'll design one more method here just to show you what is the difference happens, or just write a static. Okay, check data. There is just a method called check data. So this method will also take an argument data, and this guy will say if data is less than 100, throw new, and here I will try to throw, let's say, IO exceptions, input output exceptions. Just I'm showing to you so that you can understand. Issue with data. Okay, look at the difference here. I am throwing here IO exceptions, input output exceptions, which I have already shown you when I was talking about types of exceptions. Now there is a difference here. You can see that the moment you throw checked exceptions, right, compiler will force you to handle that, because compiler will come to know then and there. There is a difference here. I was not getting any compile time error. Here I am getting that. When you place mouse over there, it will tell you add throws declaration, right? Click on that. The moment you will click on that, your method will have something called throws. Your method will have something called throws. So the throws keyword will actually help you to inform the caller what kind of exceptions he has to handle. Anyways, throws I will cover in next video. Here just try to understand. I just wanted to tell you the difference. When you throw runtime exceptions, you will not have any issue. Whenever you will throw checked exceptions, okay, this is checked exceptions, this is actually compile time, it will force you to throws the exceptions, or you can handle the exceptions, right? It's up to you. Now there is one more conditions here, the same conditions. What happens if I'll throw exceptions? See, even when you throw exceptions, apart from runtime exceptions, if you throw anything, apart from runtime exceptions, if you throw anything, you will get this, compiler will complain you and it will force you to throws the exceptions. So click on that. See, everything got wrapped to the exceptions, because you know that exceptions is the parent class. Okay, exceptions is the parent class. Now I'll tell you what I'm trying to tell you here is, look at the difference. Press control, press on these exceptions. When you came here, these all exceptions are of runtime, because this arithmetic exceptions extends runtime exceptions. Alright, this guy extends runtime exceptions. Now when you go for array index out of bound exceptions, when you just press control and click on this, look at here, this extends index out of bound, and when you press control and click on that, again this guy runtime exceptions, right? These all exceptions are of type runtime exceptions. This I have covered in the inheritance when I was talking about. Whenever you extend to the parent class, your type will be of the parent class type. Okay, so these all exceptions becomes runtime. Similarly, if you look at the null pointer, you can see that here also. Okay, there are a lot of classes here, you might not be able to search, but look at this null pointer. Click on the null pointer. See, the null pointer also extends runtime exceptions. Clear? Cool. Now come back, delete this, control D. Okay, now come back, go to input output, press control, click on input output, scroll up, look at this. This guy input output is not a runtime exceptions, it is exceptions, it is not a runtime exceptions. Clear? Right? So earlier what was happening, this null pointer is of type runtime exceptions. Yes, runtime also, if you go one level up, this is of type exceptions. So finally your arithmetic or array index out of bound becomes of type exceptions, right? But it is also of type runtime. Both you need to understand. Okay, this again runtime extends exceptions, whereas in input output the type is exceptions. Okay, now when you go for exceptions, press control, press on this. What is the type? Exceptions is the type of throwable. Exceptions is of type throwable, because this exceptions will extend throwable class, so it will be of type throwable. So what is our understanding here? This is very important interview questions, that's where I am stressing to this. See, the learning here is, people will ask you, what happens when you throw arithmetic exceptions? Will compiler will complain you? Say that no. When we throw runtime exceptions, compiler will not complain, but when I throw checked exceptions or compile time exceptions or throwable type exceptions, then compiler will complain me and it will force me to use throws keyword here, right? Either you do like this, or okay, there are two ways. Either you throws it, control A, control shift F, either you throws it or you handle the exceptions. It's up to you, what do you want to do that. So my suggestion is, whenever you are working on the project and whenever you have to throw the exceptions, do not handle the exceptions, do not, otherwise the meaning of this throw will go off. Do not handle. Okay, do not handle. Let caller should handle. So just throw the exceptions. Click on as throws. This will add input output, and this guy will go and override to the, so you can do like this also, input output comma. You can actually throw multiple. Okay, you can write like this also, no problem. You can throw two exceptions, or you can throw only exceptions, both will get wrapped, right? So my suggestion is, whenever you are throwing the exceptions, do not handle it. If you handle it, the meaning of these throw exceptions will go off, then it is not meaningful. Now why we should throw, I will tell you why we should throw. If I'll go here, I'll create one class called test example 19. Here I will create a main method, main control spacebar enter, main control spacebar enter. Now go here and call method called check data with 900. Look at this. The moment I called the method, I am getting that compile time error. Why I am getting the compile time error? Because this method throws the exceptions. So when it throws the exceptions, if you look at here, this method throws the exceptions. When it throws the exceptions, compiler will tell you, boss, this method throws the exceptions, please handle it. So you have two choices here. Either you handle it by using try catch. This is one way. Click on try catch. Your code will get wrapped into the try block, and there will be corresponding catch block will get generated. Okay, right? This is one way of doing that. The other way is you can also throw. So that if some other person will call the method, he will get informed. Now what happens here? When you throw, basically when you are handling it, now when someone else will call this method, he will not, compiler will not tell him, because you are already handling it, right? Clear? You are already handling it. Let me show you. Let's say okay. So again, main control spacebar enter. Now okay, you are handling it here, just surround with try catch. Okay, now the problem here, what happens is, when you go here and when you call here, compiler will not complain him like please handle it. It will not complain him, because you have already handled here in the test1 method. You have called check data method and you are handling it, so no more complaint now. But what happens when I don't handle here? If I have just like that, here also I will throw the declarations, right? So now what happened? This guy was throwing exceptions, right? From this class, your exceptions will get propagated to this class. This guy is also calling and throwing the exceptions. So now from this class, your exceptions will get propagated here, right? So here up to you whether you want to again throw or you want to use try catch. This is the benefit. So these are the caller. See, test 190 is the caller, test 19 is the caller, and you are the client. Got it? Clear? But what happens in case of runtime? In runtime, it will not force you guys. Okay, there is a difference. It will not force you. So if I'll go here, if I'll make a main method, and from example 19, if I'll call dot check eligibility with 90, this guy will not force you. So whenever you are throwing runtime exceptions, it will never force you, never force you, right? So my suggestion is, whenever you are throwing the exceptions, make sure that you should not throw runtime, because when you throw runtime, it will not force you, like the caller will not get informed. Okay, so don't throw runtime exceptions. Always throw either exceptions or checked exceptions, right? So you might be questioning me how you can every time you can make either exceptions or checked exceptions. You can actually write custom exceptions, which we'll see that later. So with this we are good with throw keyword, right? That's what my intention to teach you, and I am hoping that you guys would be good with that. Thank you guys, thank you for watching this.